Hey folks, Stronghold Crafter Cav here. Welcome to my channel. In this video we're going to continue my tutorial series on how to make a castle tower out of foam. Yes! Okay, in this particular one we're going to focus on the detailing of the doors and hatches and whatnot. Pretty simple stuff. It's going to be broken down into its respective parts because there's a lot more there than you think is involved. And if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, feel free to subscribe. I have a lot more things coming to the channel. I wouldn't want you to miss out. And if you are a subscriber, thank you. Really appreciate it. For more information on my craft is my website, which is strongholdsoffantasy.com. And if you like this video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And I'll see you in a bit. Hey folks, welcome back to this tutorial. And we're going to wrap things up with the doors for your tower. Okay, right here we have the finished product. Basically this is made out of balsa wood and some cardboard. And painted up to look, I wouldn't say the most pristine, but at least it has some sort of new kind of look to it. I wasn't trying to go for a very muchly aged look, but I at least wanted to have something that looked decent. Anyway, once it's on the tower, you know, you're not going to really look at it that close, so you're just going to see how the highlights of the details pop out around the gray exterior, basically. So, okay, so anyway, before you go through the trouble of detailing your doors, make sure they fit into their respective places. Now, word of advice, mark where they go. Because this one, as you can see, I marked that for that door. Actually, just mark it where the way you marked your walls with the same designation, and you have no trouble as to differentiating, okay, which door is this for? Okay, and so on and so forth. First, you're going to start out with a plain door, as shown here, and I'm using balsa wood. Now, if you're wondering, why go to the trouble of detailing a wooden door of sorts? I mean, well, it all depends on how much detail you want to put into your project. I've seen some people, you know, they just carve a door into the foam and they're happy with that, and that's alright. I've seen some people that actually take a piece of, I'll just say foam core board foam, peel the paper off, carve it, and put that in place. And that's fine too. I've tried balsa. I've tried basswood, and that is a real chore to cut, and I've used it, and I find that using balsa wood is a lot easier for this project. And anyway, before I continue to rattle on too much, you want to take your wooden door that you've cut, and of course cut it the size. In this case it is 2 inches tall by 1 inch wide, just like the doorway. Okay, and take a regular pencil or a mechanical pencil, and the goal here is to draw in some wood boards, so it makes it look like this door is more than one piece. Okay, so basically you want to start, let's see if I got this up here as far as it'll go. We'll go and focus a little bit more. How about that? And we'll just lose the doors right there. Oh, sorry about the shaking. Okay, I've got this on max. Alright, now you take your door here, and I just keep it simple and just do like a 4 board layout. Alright, that concludes the need of that. And now as you can see, the lines are a lot more obvious here. They're going to get a slight indentation. It's not a whole lot, but it'll be enough to show up when you go to paint it. Okay, so keep that in mind. These don't have to be perfectly straight lines. The paint will obscure some of this detail anyway, so it won't really matter that much. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a base coat of this with let's see, some Bella black paint here, and go from there. Alright, and when you're done, it'll look like this. Trying to get the camera in here. You can still see the grooves ever so slightly, and you want to paint the sides as well. Don't bother painting the back because you won't see it anyway. So this is how it'll look. Now we want to take this and we want to add the final color, and that will be another Bella brand of espresso. So alright, you only need to do the front part of the door, and the detail is going to, well, this one's still wet, so you won't really tell how it's going to turn out. So we'll just leave this to dry and go from there. Here's one that's been dried. You can see how the wood grain pops out. Come on, focus. Why is this having trouble focusing? Aha, there we go. And it has a slightly dirty texture to it. That's pretty much what I was going for. The colors aren't going to be totally even, so that's fine too. Anyway, now with that, we want to deal with the brackets. Okay, so how do I do the brackets? Well, so measure out a piece of cardboard. It can be about that thin, or cardstock, or whatever you have available will work. And measure them out like in strips like this. And if you're doing multiple brackets, of course, you just take your scissors and cut them into place like so, so on and so forth. Now, to get that one in there the way it is, I basically took an end of the bracket and I just cut off a small, sorry if the hands are getting in the way, a small corner. No big deal. I didn't really measure it. It's not measure it. It's not something really precise. And when you're going to focus. There we go. Aha. See, I'm just taking the corners off. Okay. Now, for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through all the trouble of painting it on the camera. Basically, I'm using a Folk Art metallic black paint. With metallic paints, they work best if you mix them up with some kind of small stirring stick for using them. So keep that in mind. And so on and so forth. So what I have here is a set that I already finished for the door, and of course for the hatch I just do two. Okay. Now it's going to have a slight luster look to it, but it's not going to be overly shiny in the light the way it catches it, and I just like how it turned out. It looks more like it's a metal as per se when I used it, compared to using a flat black paint before. Okay, now what I do next is I put them on with some super tacky glue you can get at most craft stores. It looks like Elmer's glue coming out of the bottle, but it's a little bit stronger with its tackiness right off the bat, so that's why I use that in particular, and it dries faster. So what we do is I highly advise getting a pair of tweezers, which come with some kind of hobby knife kit, or you can get your own separately. It'll make your life a whole lot easier when you go to apply these things. So take our, and another thing to keep in mind is that you want them to be facing towards the courtyard, especially with these guard towers that are part of the outer wall. The lower doors that aren't connected, or like anyway, you get my point. That way when it swings in, it'll make more sense than the other direction. Alright, now we have all three brackets in place, and I'll point out, I'm sorry if this gets off of camera here, sometimes it's hard to manage more than one thing here with this close-up, but anyway, we have our top bracket, we have our bottom bracket, they're pretty much at the edge, and we have this middle bracket. Now, it's up to you how you want to do your doorknob or a ring or whatever. So I just went with something very simple, which is just some type of metal piece with a bead that was glued and then painted over. And just to give you an idea, the bead I used was something very small. Like I said, this is more like a sliding bolt type of deal, but here again, there's always a compromise with scale, and I was just trying to go with something that would work and without being too fancy. So anyway, now it comes time for the, what I call the rivets, nails, whatever you want to call it, to put on these brackets to make these look like they're being held on. So I am using a where is it? Goes up. A billet metallic copper. Alright, the main thing to keep in mind is that they're round and they pretty much fit near the center of each board for the door. Alright, and you can see with compared to this one, how it looks on the left. It dries pretty fast, so we'll see how that turns out in the meantime. Alright, now it comes time to mount the doors in place. Assuming the paint is dry and everything else is okay, and you've already done the dry fitting parts, and you have the right door for the right inset or indent, as we will call it. I just used some basic multi-purpose Elmer's glue, and the trick is you glue this part in here and then just drop the door into place. As I was mentioning before, when you would put a wall piece with this, you want to make sure that the door would swing in towards the courtyard, and I'll be right back. Alright, this is a shrewd showing here, but you'll get my point here. We've got the castle wall attached to the tower, and as it is here, it'd be easier for the doorway to swing in, which is why we cut the ends of the brackets, and that's why I was missing a pointer. It's pointing towards going into the tower, which is facing the courtyard that way. Okay, and that about sums it up. So, thanks for watching. Bye.